everyone. Today, I'd like to explain some tips on the selection process to win the JDS scholarship. Preparation for the selection process varies from applicant to applicant. However, it is advisable to think about what is expected of you in the selection process and what you should prepare for it in advance. Well, let's start with an introduction. First of all, the explanation in this video assumes that you have understood the contents of application guidelines and how to write a research plan. If you haven't watched these videos yet, I recommend that you watch them first. As explained in the application guidelines, JDS applicants need to go through the following selection process to win the scholarship. Starting from the application stage, applicants need to submit an application form, a research proposal, and take an English and, in some fields, a mathematics exam before entering the selection process. Then, these documents and test results will be used by the host university and operating committee in the screening and interview process. For the evaluation criteria of each selection, please refer to the application guidelines. Here, please note that no one knows a guaranteed way or answer on how to win this selection process. However, there are some important mindset and points to prepare in mind in advance. Let's explore them in this video. Let's think about what kind of applicants JDS is seeking for. The application guidelines states that JDS is targeted at highly capable officials and others who are expected to engage in and implementing social and economic development plans, and become leaders in your country in the 21st century. So, in short, JDS is looking for future leaders in the government sector, policymakers who can change the country and society for the better. From this point of view, the following questions will be frequently asked in selecting applicants. Why did you apply for JDS? This question can be further broken down as follows. What do you want to do in the future? Why do you want to study in Japan? Why did you choose that university? What is your research plan? And, do you have ability to do that research? Then, please be aware how your answer to these questions corresponds to each selection step. This pink part will be covered by the application form, and mainly evaluated in the third selection, interview by the operating committee. Then, the light blue part will be covered by the research plan, and mainly evaluated in the second selection, interview by the university. Lastly, the green part will be covered by the paper test, and mainly evaluated in the first selection, so the screening by the university. These are very basic questions, but many applicants unable to answer them well. So, this video will try to explore what mindset you should have to prepare for these questions. Based on the introduction, this is the contents of this video. There are 7 sections in total. The first section will explain about the test preparation. The second to fourth section will explain about basic logic and ideas to answer questions in the application form. Then, the remaining 5th to 7th sections will explain some tips and points to be considered in preparing your research plan for the selection. Okay, let's get started. The first section is about the test preparation. We can say that getting a good score in the test is a key to succeeding in the first selection and to proceeding to an interview stage. All the applicants must take the English test, and some additionally need to take the math test depending on the universities they apply for. As mentioned in the introduction, these test scores will be sent to each university and used as one of evaluation references in the first selection. Here's one fact for you. Applicants with low test scores are likely to be rejected in the first selection. So, if your test scores are low, you will not be able to proceed to the interview stage. If you look at it from the other side, getting a good score on these tests is one of the keys to succeeding in the first selection. And you should know that fortunately it is possible to raise the test score. So, what kind of test preparation should we do in advance? For the English test, it is recommended that you try to take a practice test yourself. The practice tests are available at a bookstore or on the internet. The JDS website also provides the test information. Just knowing the question format and the test speed will improve your score. The required score level varies depending on the university and field of study, but as a benchmark, it is recommended that you aim at TOEFL 500 as a target. The math test is an original test of JDS and consists of a total of 20 questions ranging from elementary to high school level. You can download its past tests and answers on the JDS website. The latter half of the questions are a bit more advanced, but we recommend that you aim for half of the 10 points first in order to pass the selection process. If you prepare properly, you can get half of the score on this test. So, try to solve the past test once by yourself, and if you can't solve it, review textbooks you used in school or ask someone who is familiar with mathematics to help you. Lastly, here's one more fact for you. You should be aware that there is a score gap between those who prepared and did not prepared. Keep in mind that all your competitors are well prepared. So, prepare well and get a good score. This section 2 will focus on 3 questions asked in the application form. It is recommended that you prepare for these questions with logic and strategy. The application form asks applicants to describe the following 3 points. First, about your work experience, second, about your research plan, third, about your future contribution. These questions are not independent each other. Be aware that these are connecting questions to evaluate you from 3 perspectives: past, present, and future. That is, what you did in the past and are doing now. Then, based on the experience, what problem awareness you have, and what you want to be in the future. Then, your answers will lead to the project objectives of JDS. Therefore, please be aware that the university and the operating committee will evaluate the applicants from viewpoint of this project objective. Then, which of the 3 questions on the application form should you start with first? There is no specific way to do it, but starting with the third question, future contribution, is one of the ways because it is directly related to the project objective of JDS. So the answer here will be the foundation for all the other questions, and yet this is the question that many applicants are not good at answering. Let's take a look at this logic. As mentioned, JDS has the objective to foster future leaders. On the other hand, it is the third question that explains whether you are the right person for the objective of JDS. Therefore, in order to be accepted as a JDS Fellow, the visions of both parties here must be matched. Then, your work experience and research plan are supporting information that helps you explain your future prospects because in order to explain your future, you need to explain your past and present. So, we will look at this future prospects in detail from now. This section 3 will explore the future prospects in a bit more detail. The application form asks your future prospects like this. Upon returning home after graduation, how do you utilize your knowledge, skills and experiences that you gained through the study in Japan to contribute to the development of your country? To this questions, there are many applicants who are likely to answer that, I will share my knowledge with colleague, or, I will teach my knowledge to young generation, because the question asks, how do you use your knowledge and experiences? However, please be aware that the JDS selection panel does not expect this kind of answer at all. Please remember the JDS objective again. JDS is seeking for future leaders for the better changes of the country as a policymaker. Therefore, you should know that the intention of this question is what you want to do in the future through your work. To break it down further, for example, this question asks what development challenges you want to tackle, how you want to change the society better, and what career you want to develop for the policymaking. So, these are the expected answers in this question and you are advised to present your own future prospects and contribution in line with the JDS objective. Clarifying your future prospects will be the foundation of other preparation. Once you have set up your future prospects, examine the following points. At first, check your work experience. It is important that description of your work experiences allows the selection panel to imagine your future prospects when they look at it. Then, please beware if your research is based on problem awareness in your professional field, and if the research leads to your future prospects or not. By the way, you should also consider whether the graduate school you are applying for has suitable professor who can guide your research. For this point, please also refer to another video, How to Write a Research Plan. So, if you can solidify the logic of your answers to the questions based on your future prospects, you will be able to properly answer the following questions. For example, why do you apply for JDS? What will you do after the graduation? What do you want to be in the future? Why is your research important? Why do you want to study in Japan? And why do you choose that university? None of the questions are special. They are very common questions that are frequently asked in the interviews. They are common questions, but also difficult questions to answer if you don't have your clear future prospects. This is the importance and logic of first clarifying your future prospects and then preparing other items based on it. In this section 4, we will see simple case studies how the future prospects changes the interview. Based on what we have seen in the previous section, think about good or bad of the candidate's answer from the viewpoint of the interviewer. An interviewer asks, "Why did you apply for the JDS scholarship?" An applicant answers, "Because I want to improve my knowledge to support the development of my country." We cannot say this answer is wrong. But, consider if this is an attractive answer to the interviewer or not. As you already know, you should read the intent of this question. For example, this question can be interpreted as, what your goal in the future, why you need this scholarship to achieve your goal. Therefore, in this question, you are expected to present your future prospects, or career plan, and to explain why you need the JDS scholarship for your future. Remember again that the selection panel is seeking for future leaders who could meet the JDS objectives. The same logic and explanation go to other questions such as, what do you want to do after the graduation, or, what do you want to be in the future? Explanation you are requested to answer is same. You are requested to clearly present your clear future prospects, career goals, and explain why you need the JDS scholarship to achieve them. Now putting other types of questions aside for a while, let's move on to the next section. This section 5 will talk about your research, but not academic matters. Why do you want to study in Japan? Unfortunately, we often see many applicants who are not good at answering this question. At first, this is a review of the video, How to Write a Research Plan. Think of the words that would go in the parentheses below. If you don't understand it, it is recommended that you watch the video again. I'll give you 10 seconds to answer. There may be some choices of word and expression, but these are possible answers. Research is the process to find something new and add it to the existing knowledge. Graduate school is a place for conducting the research. If there is no suitable professor for your research, there is no meaning for you to go to that school, and no meaning for the school to select you as a student, either. With or without a scholarship, people who go to graduate school have the following motivation and rationales in general. This is a different point from going to bachelor's program. If you want to go to the graduate school, you must have something that you want to research about. Then, for your research idea, the university you choose needs to have a researcher who you want to receive advice for your research, or other cases, has special facilities to realize your research. Therefore, as we have already seen, if there is no suitable professor for your research in the school, there is no meaning for you to go to Japan. And no meaning for the school to accept you as a student, either. Therefore, when you apply for JDS, it is very important to find a suitable professor for your research in the school you are applying for. Please keep this logic in mind and move on to the next section. In this section 6, let's see simple case studies based on the previous review about the research and graduate school. This is a simple case study of interview conducted by a professor. The professor asks, "Why did you choose our university?" The applicant answers, "Because your university is a leading university in Japan, and my colleague also studied at your university, and he says your university is the best university to study." Do you think the professor is interviewing expecting your praise for the university? The intent and purpose of this question are, "What research do you want to do?" and "Why do you think that the school is suitable for your research?" Therefore, through this question, you are requested to clearly present your research, and explain why that graduate school is suitable for your research. Again, remember that the graduate school is a place for conducting research, and there is no meaning to go to the graduate school if you don't find suitable professors for your research. So far, we have seen 2 case studies from the previous section. And you have seen the 3 key ideas. That is, clear future prospects, research you want to do, and suitability of the school for your research. Based on these ideas, lastly, consider another frequently asked question. Why do you want to study in Japan? Surprisingly, not a few applicants are likely to answer this way. Because Japan is a developed country, and it's been my dream to study in Japan, blah blah blah. If you were the selection panel, what do you think of this answer? I will not explain further here. Considering the 3 key ideas above, make your best and persuasive answer to this question. In this last section, I will show you a few examples of core questions, that is, questions to your research plan from academic perspective. Different from the previous sections, you would have difficulty in answering if you don't prepare your research plan properly. Please note that the following sample questions are not always asked in the university interview. The questions may also vary depending on your field of study and the nature of your research. I hope the sample questions shown from now help you make a good research plan and prepare for your interviews. Okay, let's get started. Question 1. What problem do you want to focus on in your research? Many applicants may be able to answer this question. How about this? Question 2. What do you think is the cause of the problem you focus on? It is important for you to answer in the logical and organized manner. Please refer to the intent of these questions and points to answer yourself. You may be able to manage to answer up to the previous questions. But, how about next one? Question 3. What is the difference between your research and other similar research in the past? This is a common question that you cannot answer if you didn't review previous studies about your research topic. Please refer to the intent of this questions and points to answer yourself. Then, how about this one? Question 4. What is the academic significance of your research? This is just rephrasing the previous questions. This kind of question is asked to confirm academic significance of your research, not social significance. For example, even if your research topic is important for your work to solve, it is not worth researching if it has already been researched and answered by other researchers. Therefore, as same as the previous questions, it is important to review the previous studies when you make your research plan. Then, about analysis of your research. Question 5. How will you analyze your research question and hypothesis? Question 6. What data or material are you going to use? I will not explain the above all in detail here, but I hope you will refer to the explanation on the slide to prepare your research plan and the interviews. That's all today. As mentioned earlier, there is no guaranteed way or techniques to win the selection process. However, there are some important mindset and points to keep in mind and prepare in advance. I hope this video helps your preparation for the application and selection.